more power is not always better. I would have potentially gotten myself in more trouble. So anyway, long story short, I am still very happy with my CB300R. I'm still having a lot of fun on it. I am still learning plenty every day when I ride, still improving, and I would not swap. What about the other options I could have bought? How do I feel about them now that I've got some mileage on my first bike? And let's just keep in mind, I still haven't ridden any of the other bikes that were really on my list. I need to correct that, but it's hard to get test rides, guys. Places don't want to do it. The Harley dealer is the most open to test rides, even when they know I'm a beginner. Duke 390. I still think it's the coolest one of the bunch. I don't want one. The whole sit on not in thing that I discovered, yeah, Duke 390 is a sit on. That said, cool bike, very cool. Second most technologically sophisticated. I think the Husqvarnas are still slightly ahead in that category, but I mean, who knows? I haven't paid attention to the latest models. The Duke 390 to me, I don't like the looks particularly, but they are cool. That's not my style. Wouldn't want one. Would love to ride one for a weekend. So the next one is actually more of a, I would be interested. I think it would be better on my commute every day. And that is the Ninja 400. The Ninja 400 is, of all of the ones I was looking at, that I was considering, probably the best suited for my day-to-day ride. You know, my headed to work commute. Hello, horsies. Behind me. I'm going to slow down so you can hear me better. So the Ninja 400 is the most sleek in terms of, like, you know, I'm going to be leaning forward, I'm going to be more aerodynamic, I'm going to be cutting through the air better, you know, the wind better. It's a thing, right? It's sport bikes, but it's still comfy. It's still pretty much a sit in, but it's a little more toward the sit on side of things, but that's fine. And I think that, you know, dollars to donuts, it's the better deal for what I'm doing. Like it's the, you're not spending significantly more money, and for that commute, you're getting a lot more. I just don't want a sport bike. I don't want the fairings. I don't want that style. And as I mentioned in my original video about what I want and don't want, I wanted a single. I wanted the simplest to work on bike, the least hassles when I'm working on it. Now, I don't know, maybe the Kawasaki is the least effort. It could be, but if anything goes wrong, there's two cylinders to have go wrong. There's two pistons, you know, like it's just a little more. So that's kind of how I was thinking about it. This is where I want more power, guys. So yeah, the Ninja 400 certainly, in a lot of ways, would be the better bike. Just not the ways I cared about. I don't need to go faster on my ride to work, and I live with the wind. It's okay. I'm okay with those penalties, those downsides. It's always a trade-off, right? But if somebody else is asking me, you know, which should I get for, and they describe that kind of riding, I'm going to go, you should really look at a Ninja 400. That would be a great bike for you, 100%. Now Z400, I don't think the Z400 gives me anything I care about particularly over this. In fact, and I did look at that was actually one of the strong contenders. My main thought process on the Z400 was more power than this. That was it. I didn't like the looks as much. I didn't like the price as much. And I didn't like the availability. They are available, and they're actually more available, which means that it's more common. part of what I like about this bike is if I'm gonna have a bike in this size bracket. What are you guys eating down there? Some animal? A bunch of crows over in the ravens over the side in the ditch. There was some back by the horse farm eating a small deer-like animal. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was just more common. And to me, that was not a benefit. It's not like I'm gonna have a hard time getting parts for my Honda. Even with Honda's current, import supply situation, they've been making versions of this bike for decades. It's not a problem. I'll buy a trash 250 if I need some parts. Other than the cylinders and the pistons, I'm betting it's like 90% the same. Moving on, the Husqvarna. Honestly, I don't particularly like the look. I think it's very cool. I like the Duke 390. I appreciate the style for the style. It's just not my style. It also has the same problem in some ways as the Duke 390. It's too sophisticated for me. I actually am not a fan of how sophisticated the anti-lock system is on this. It's a little too quick to keep me from doing that, which means it's taking away braking power. It's taking away feel. I am that guy who very well may buy a no ABS bike as my next machine for the better front brake feel and just go, yeah, it's on me. I need to be responsible with my front brake. Now, if I do that, I'm not riding that one in the rain. Like, sorry, I'm not stupid. Rider aids are there for a reason. I would keep riding this one in the rain, or something else that had ABS. What else? What else we got? The Yamahas, the MT-03. The MT-03, honestly, has some potential. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sell this and buy an MT-03, but like, would I have been happy on an MT-03? I think the answer is yeah. Yeah, I think I would have been not as happy. I like the looks of this bike better, and honestly, I like the sound better than I like the MT-03's sound, from what I've heard. But you can put a pipe on it. The MT-03 takes a pipe better than this does. The twin responds better. This one sounds like a frickin' weed eater when you put a pipe on it. The MT-03 actually can sound decent, but that's more money. The seat position on the MT-03 is not like the MT-07. You're in, not on. It is a little smaller feeling than this bike, but not much. The leg position is okay for me. It's not as relaxed as this, but it's not bad. And overall, I like the bike. It looks and feels cheaper to me. And it's just their choice of styling and materials. For like the handlebars and the dash, it just looks, this doesn't look like it's the cheapest version of a set of bikes. It just looks like the basic version. It's like you stripped away extras, but you didn't downgrade quality of what's still there. The MT-03 looks like the cheap sibling, like the poorer cousin kind of thing. And I'm not a fan. That said, I'm guessing that I would have been fine. I don't really ever push the suspension on this hard enough to go, oh yeah, the better suspension on the CB300R is totally worth it for me. I don't fucking know. Come on, I have never ridden this bike hard enough for that to matter. The twin-cylinder engine did revs up higher and is happier higher up in the RPM, so it would probably be happier on my highway commute. And it would be perfectly fine in town. I don't mind revving up. Like it doesn't bother me. So to me, the lower end torque this bike has compared to a MT-03, whatever. Like I would just rev up higher. I wouldn't go, oh, I've got low end torque, I'll use it. No, I would just push the throttle more. So that's the MT-03. We'll throw the MT-07 in. Wouldn't like it. Wouldn't like to own it. It's fun to ride. Way more casual throttle. You can, way less effort, go way faster, right? Bigger engine, more braking power, so you can more easily get to max braking. it's a more effortless bike. The riding I do would be 2/10 on an MT-07 most of the time, instead of, I mean, honestly, in terms of power, I routinely use 9 out of 10 on this bike. Okay, I mean, it's not an exaggeration. I mean, I was at full throttle multiple times already today, including places other than that, you know, those hills. Handling, I don't know that I've ever pushed this bike. I know I chicken out well before the bike does. Sorry, it's just a thing. I do. So what else we got? I'm trying to think what else is in the lineup. The R3 really wasn't. I know if I put the Ninja in there, I gotta kind of include the R3. But the newer R3 is the seating position isn't it for me. Suzuki honestly doesn't seem to have anything. I mean, unless I go up to an SV650, and I think I put that in the same category as the MT-07. In terms of, it's just more than I need right now. I don't think I would have been happier with that. I think I would have had more issues. I would have potentially gotten myself in more trouble. More power is not always better. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was not intended. See what I mean? More power isn't always better. I should have been going slower. I thought I was just going to whip it through there and then basically chickened out. Like, that was possibly the closest I've ever gone to going down. It wasn't actually close, but it could have been if that bump had been different and if the bike hadn't handled it so well. So, what else we got? I can't think of any other bikes that I would put in the category. I mean, like, wasn't really looking at like the KLR 650s, none of the various adventure bikes. They're all too expensive for what I was shopping for. I mean, that's true of the MT-07 and the SV650 too, but the number of those you can get used is pretty high, particularly the SV650. Even right now, with prices through the roof for used bikes, there's plenty of them available. Now, one of the other bikes I was looking at was the Sportster, Harley Sportster, and I get a lot of shit for this one because a lot of guys that are watching my channel are very anti-Harley. But hey, I am not. I am pretty agnostic brand-wise, and Harley offers something that very few of the other brands do, and that is this massive aftermarket accessories situation. I was looking at a Harley Sportster mostly. If I had found a Softail that I liked, that I could afford, that was a possibility, but I wasn't going to be able to afford it. Not at the price I was trying to stick to. It didn't make sense to spend more money. That defeated part of the purpose of buying the bike and dumping the car. If I had taken out a loan on the bike, I would have not been saving money. So the Sportster would have been the heaviest of all the bikes I was looking at. Also the least reliable, because I wouldn't have been looking at a newer one. New, they're well, like $13,000 by the time you walk out of the freaking dealer. Grapple. You gotta watch these turnarounds. They don't clean them very often. I love this area around Permi. It's just so cool. Geography is so weird. Just a little round top up here, right? You know, hills over there, hills over here, and then, you know, then there's just random flat sections for 10 miles. I mean, there's a reason they call it the hill country of Texas. But don't be fooled by all the green you're looking at. It's rock underneath. It's all rock. The grass is basically on a thin layer of dirt above the rock. So the Sportster would have been interesting. Most of the ones I've sat on that I was comfy on have forward controls. I'm not a fan of forwards particularly, but it was more comfy. The problem is learning to ride with forwards, I think, is inviting trouble. I think it's just a more awkward way to learn. I wouldn't want to do that. The problem with that for the Sportster is that most of the Sportsters I've sat on, my knees feel pretty high. because the seat versus the pegs for my legs, my knees are up there at the tank, like, you know, little too high for comfort. Not a fan. Now there are exceptions. Seat height is not bad for me. I don't feel like I can't, you know, just put my feet down, which is useful when you're new. So it's not, it wouldn't have been a bad choice. It just would have been really particular about which one, what seat, and I would have just have to get used to my legs being pretty high. That said, resale value is excellent. If I bought one, you know, private sale, I could sell it for what I paid for it. Right now, 5,000 miles in, I could turn around and sell it for what I paid for it. If I bought a Softail, same thing, could turn around and sell it for what I paid. I probably wouldn't be in the market to sell it. If I bought the Sportster, I probably would be, or I would be doing channel stuff to it, a lot of mods and all that. Let's pull into bunker branding. We're not gonna actually pull in, but if you guys aren't familiar with Demolition Ranch, this is Demolition Ranch's, you know, Matt Carricker's t-shirt business, t-shirt and other merch. He's one of the biggest gun tubers. I don't know, it's kind of cool that it's here in Bernie. I'm a fan. I'm not a like rabid fan, but I like him. You can see those flags. That's what the wind's really doing. Okay, I don't even know if this is still recording. Yeah, apparently both are still recording. That's impressive. Been out for a while. Okay, I will talk to you guys later. That was enough ranting. Take it easy, have fun, stay safe, enjoy the ride.